You lie down when your body says it's time. Not before, not because a clock told you to. There's no mattress, no blanket, no door you can close. For roughly 300,000 years, this wasn't a hardship. This was just Tuesday. Every night, your ancestors slept on the ground, in the open, surrounded by other people, and somehow it worked. So what did they actually do differently? And why does falling asleep feel so much harder now, with all our pillows and thermostats and blackout curtains? Let's start with the obvious question. Without beds, where did people actually sleep? The answer is layered, literally. Archaeologist Lynn Wadley excavated a rock shelter in South Africa called Sabudu Cave, and what she found rewired how researchers think about ancient comfort. Buried in the sediment were compacted layers of sedge and rush, plant bedding deliberately laid down and refreshed over and over, some of it dating back around 200,000 years. This wasn't just grass someone happened to lie on. Certain plants in the mix contain natural insecticidal compounds. People weren't just building a soft surface. They were building a surface that kept biting insects away while they slept. That's not primitive. That's applied botany, passed down without a single written instruction. So the sleeping surface was solved early, and solved well. But comfort was never the main problem. Predators were. A human lying flat on open ground is, from a survival standpoint, a liable clause, no thick hide, barely any night vision. So how did entire groups sleep through the night without becoming dinner? The answer wasn't a wall, it was a fire, and it was each other. Modern sleep researcher Jerome Siegel led a landmark 2015 study, published in Current Biology, that tracked the sleep of 3 pre-industrial societies still living without electricity: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. His team expected to find fragmented, anxious sleep, the kind you'd assume comes from constant threat. Instead, they found something almost the opposite. These groups slept in a single consolidated block, average duration between 6.5 and 8.5 hours, and reported almost no insomnia. Care that to industrialized populations where sleep complaints are common despite, or maybe because of far safer sleeping conditions. How is that possible? How is that possible? Because the threat wasn't managed alone, it was distributed. Fires were kept low and constant through the night, tended in shifts. Someone was always half aware, not because they were anxious, but because the group had built a rotation that meant nobody had to fully carry the weight of vigilance by themselves. Anthropologist Carol Worthman's cross-cultural research work, sleep alone in silent, sealed rooms. People don't sleep alone in silent, sealed rooms. They sleep in shared, semi-open spaces, layered with the sounds of breathing, low conversation, a fire crackling, children shifting. Worthman's work suggests this isn't incidental. The presence of others is itself a sleep aid, a signal to a very old part of the brain that says, you don't have to watch for everything right now. So picture it, reconstruct the actual scene. The sun is down, the sky over the savannah has gone that deep, bruised orange it gets right before dark. A fire sits low in a shallow pit, its light orange and moving, throwing soft shadows across 10 or 12 sleeping bodies, arranged in a loose circle, feet toward the flame, heads toward the dark. Someone stirs, adds a branch, and settles back down without fully waking. A child is pressed against an adult's side, not for warmth alone, but because contact itself lowers the body's stress hormones. Somewhere at the circle's edge, an older member of the group sleeps lightest of all, a role that shifts across the night, an unspoken agreement nobody had to write down. There's no lock on a door because there is no door. The perimeter is people. Now here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. For decades, a popular idea circulated that ancient humans practiced what's called segmented sleep, waking naturally in the middle of the night for an hour of quiet activity before a second sleep. It's a compelling story. It shows up constantly in wellness articles, claiming your ancestors' bodies knew something modern life destroyed. Siegel's study found no evidence of that pattern in any of the 3 groups he tracked. None of them woke for a scheduled middle-of-the-night interval. None of them showed the biphasic pattern the theory predicted. What they actually showed was long, largely uninterrupted sleep, timed tightly to darkness and temperature drop. not to some hidden ancestral clock ticking toward a midnight wake-up call. The twist isn't that ancient sleep was stranger than yours. The twist is that in some ways it was simpler, and the thing that made it work wasn't a special biological trick. It was environmental consistency, and it was community. Temperature dropped consistently every night, because there was no way to stop it. Light disappeared consistently because there was no way to fake it, and the presence of other bodies, other breathing, other low sounds, meant the brain never had to fully stand guard alone. Now think about your own bedroom. The temperature barely changes. The light from a screen right before bed tells your brain it's still daytime. And for a huge number of people, especially in cities, sleep happens in isolation, one body in one sealed room. No fire, no rotation, no circle. Your ancestors' environment did the regulating for them. Yours asks you to regulate it yourself, deliberately, against a world of artificial light and controlled climate that never gives your body the consistent cues it evolved to expect. That's not a design flaw in you. It's a mismatch between an old system and a new environment. Some of what worked back then still applies. A cooler room, less light in the hour before sleep, and the thing that's harder to replicate but still true, the simple, measurable calm that comes from not being the only person keeping watch, whether that's a partner in the next room, a pet at the foot of the bed, or just the quiet knowledge that you're safe enough not to need to listen for anything. You still lie down when your body says it's time. The difference is 300,000 years ago, the world around you was that part you get there. Tonite, that part is on you.